I mentioned to you yesterday from this chair, from this segment, from this very studio, that this was the game of the year to this point in time, when you've got a division matchup between an 11-1 home team and a 9-3 road team. The road team are the Green Bay Packers. The home team are the Detroit Lions on a 10-game win streak, and Lions fans are out of their minds, figuratively, when they're out of their minds about how they're loving this roar restoration and how the Lions are, in certain parts, the best team in the National Football League. And then literally losing their minds, like people who are holding the American flag and making throat cut gestures to the Packers coming out on the field and the head coach. But that said, we'll hit that later on. But game of the year, when these two teams are coming out of the toughest division in football. Clearly, figuratively, the toughest division in football, with the 10-win Vikings in there too. And then quite literally, these teams in the NFC North are physical. And the Lions are physical. Jahmyr Gibbs, as Kirk Herbstreit rightly pointed out in the Prime Video broadcast, is a physical runner. Just because he's fast and hits the edge and gains the edge faster than maybe anyone in the National Football League, he can run between the tackles. He is physical. David Montgomery is physical. Josh Jacobs is physical. The defenses want to hit one another. Paint swapping affair, and the Packers entered last night into Ford Field with bad intentions, just like they did on Thanksgiving Day last year. They walked into that building with upstart division hopes, and they had the Lions down several times in the second half of this game. But the Lions prevail at the end of the game. And Lions fans have every reason to just be out of their minds, figuratively, not literally. 12 games now they've won in back-to-back seasons for the first time in franchise history. The 12 wins are tied for the most in a single season in franchise history. They officially clinched a playoff spot. The Lions are back in the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. My Lord. These are words that Lions fans had hoped they would hear at some point in the rest of their lifetimes, and now it is a reality. They broke a franchise record with their 11th straight win. It's the longest single-season win streak by any team in the league since the Steelers started 11-0 in 2020. They improved to 9-1 in primetime games since 2022. That's the best in the NFL. From 99 to 21, they won only 8 primetime games combined. The 9-1 record is tied for the 4th best in the league in a 3-game span of primetime games since 1950, which is interesting they go back to that, because when the hell was their primetime games in 1950?
Well, you know, there were like 2 channels back then.
I know. I mean, listen, who wouldn't watch the Giants and the Colts go at it when I Love Lucy was on the other channel? Thanks for the laugh, Mike. I appreciate it.
Probably a lot of people.
I mean, Goff came up with his 25th passing touchdown of the year last night. He's got 25 passing touchdowns in each of the last 3 seasons since 2022. Only player in the NFL with such a stat since 2022. It's Jared Goff. The running backs. David Montgomery becomes the 3rd player in Detroit history with at least a dozen rushing touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. The others are named Barry Sanders and Billy Sims. That's it. Ooh. These are names in running back Detroit lore that usually don't have anybody else's name etched next to them. Jahmyr Gibbs reached the 1,000-yard rushing mark. It's the 3rd straight season Detroit has had a 1,000-yard rusher. And the first since Barry Sanders did it from 89 at one point through every season from 89 to 98. Jahmyr Gibbs is doing something Barry Sanders last did. Montgomery's doing stuff that Barry Sanders and Billy Sims last did. Goff is doing stuff like only Stafford's done. And the Lions are doing stuff that no other Lions team has ever done. This is happening. And the one thing I would only say about this, for the Lions fans to just at one point just getting that twinge again, that this potentially could go a little awry. Is their coach likes to roll the dice, man? I mean, my God, does he like to roll the dice?
Yep.
And you know, I think Dan Campbell is Coach of the Year. When there are other terrific Coach of the Year candidates, he will be a finalist.
It up. Yeah, he might have locked it up.
I mean, we'll see how Tomlin finishes in Pittsburgh. There's a lot of other candidates that are out there, guys.
Yeah.
But, man, Dan Campbell likes to put everything on the line. And he did it 5 times last night. They were 4 for 5 on 4th downs. And, you know, some of them worked out, like the lion's share, if you will. I said that on purpose. Worked out. 2 of those 4th downs led to touchdowns. One to Tim Patrick, who had 2 touchdowns, and one to Jahmyr Gibbs when they went for it on 4th and goal from the 1. And the last team to score 2 or more touchdowns on 4th downs in multiple games, as the Lions have done this year. It's a second such game this year with the 2010 Cowboys. Didn't work out for them very well. That was the year that they replaced Wade Phillips with Jason Garrett. Mm-hmm. But Garrett finished 5-3, and that led him to get the job. So
there's that.
There's that. But my point again is this. When they went for it on the one time that it didn't work out, on 4th and 1 with 1:29 to go in the third quarter, they're up by 3, and Dan Campbell, or Dan Gamble, goes for it from his own 31-yard line.
That was crazy.
And Jahmyr Gibbs gets hit for a loss of 1. And then 4 plays later, Josh Jacobs scores his 3rd touchdown of the night, and the Lions are down. I sat there, and I'm like, this is shades of the NFC Championship game right now. Shades of the NFC Championship game right now. And it was just a fresh reminder that all of this great stuff could just go up in smoke. And then comes the 4th quarter, where the game is tied 31 apiece. They're on the 21-yard line of Green Bay, 43 seconds left. They have a field goal kicker who is up there in the Brandon Aubrey rarefied air right now. As close to automatic as they come in the NFL. 38-yard field goal, and Dan Campbell says, timeout, let's talk about it. But during that timeout, I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking sitting there watching it. I'm thinking, what were we calling timeout, just to get the play right? Because we know he's going for it. There's no way he's just going to set up the field goal, because all he's got to do is get one more first down, then you could take it down to 0 and then get your automatic kicker out there and win the game.
Yeah, and the Packers would have had, what, like 40 seconds maybe to come
little
down
bit
and try
less
to
than
tie
that.
it? Yeah, something like that.
But we've seen that's too much time for an offense that can click and come up with chunk plays, as Jordan Love had proven in the second half of this game.
Yeah.
So this one kind of made more sense, certainly more than going for it and you're deep in your own end in the middle of a third quarter, like at the end of a third quarter, when it's just punt, and play for another day.
Yep.
But that's not their MO. That's not this guy's MO. And it worked out. This one worked out. The final, 5th and final 4th down attempt gave them 4 or 5 on 4th down on the night. And the Lions wrapped it up. This is what Coach Campbell had to say about the decision afterwards.
I just felt like we needed to end it on offense, and I did not want to give that ball back, and I believed we could get that. I believed we could convert, and I trusted that O-line. I trusted David, and they came through for us. It's a hell of a call by Ben, It just I knew how I wanted to play this game. The team knew it, and everything in me told me that let's finish this, and so we did.
How about Jared being able to get rid of that ball when you get stepped on?
He's an athlete. He got that thing handed off. David did the rest. It was great.
7-yard gain. And again, he got stepped on by his left guard.
Yeah.
And as Herb Street pointed out in college,
He's down.
He's down. Knees down, but this is the pros.
Yep.
And Goff did somehow get it to Montgomery, but that's just the case in point that when you gamble and you roll the dice, you never know if your left guard's going to step on you. And I understand that's not the way you live life. You're not like going to be when you're crossing the street saying, this could be the last step I take in my life. But you do look both ways before stepping in the street.
Left, right, left again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes it feels like Dan Campbell's not checking out the traffic patterns before stepping in the street.
He's playing Frogger. Like Costanza.
Jared Goff with the line of the night when being told his coach's response to him almost not getting the ball out.
Yeah, real athletic to fall down on a routine handoff. But yeah, I'm glad we made it happen. And we came into this game knowing we were going to do it maybe a little bit more than usual. Dan had mentioned that early in the week that he was going to really lean on our offense to make some things happen and certainly be aggressive on fourth down if the opportunity presented itself.
What faith does that show in you and the offense, everybody that you?
Bigger than anything.
Yeah.
Like that's like all you want from a head coach is to believe in you and that gives us that little extra oomph to want to make it happen. And I'm not the one running or blocking, but I'm sure those guys up front say, all right, you're giving it to us to make this game and finish this game off on our terms. And it means a ton.
So there you have it. Here I am sitting here again thinking the same thing I thought after the NFC Championship game last year is like, can we just dial it down from Spinal Tap 11 to 10? Just dial it down. Dial it down. Like I would punt when you're on your own 31 in the third quarter. But if they punt in those situations, the team might now look at Dan Campbell and go, is Coach all right? Because they're used to it. Campbell even said they know how I want to play it because he's not just sitting there dice rolling. And I know I just accused of him not checking the traffic pattern. This is a guy who basically said, I told him during the week this was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's the strength of a coach and a coach of the year is you tell your guys what's going to happen. It happens. They do it. They succeed at it. And you get an answer like Jared Goff saying it means everything in the world. But I'm just sitting here saying the greatest Lions season ever is unfolding right now.
Yeah.
Greatest Lions season in the history of the Detroit Lions is unfolding right now. And I'm just like one of those movies looking through my fingers at the future at a moment in a win-or-go-home game where there's a fourth down decision and they're going to go for it. And the whole football world's going to be on pins and needles. It's going to happen. You know it. I know it. The football fans know it. Everybody knows it. But right now what the Lions are still ahead of the Eagles in the standings and in the playoffs and real close to clinching the toughest division in football. And next for them are the Buffalo Bills in Detroit. Oh, baby. With visits to Chicago and San Francisco after that. And then the home game against the Vikings, which potentially could be for the division if anything goes awry over the next few weeks for the Lions. Or just a game for the Lions to rest people because they know they got everything wrapped up. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere in between.
So ironic, too. You're talking about the best season in Lions history, right? So to match that, they'd have to be tied in the NFC Championship game with 3 minutes to go in the game. And last night, he's doing the crazy fourth down stuff. The score last night, same score as the NFC Championship game last year against San Francisco, 34-31. This time, they're on the winning end.
And I understand where it's got to go to be better than that last year. I'm just saying right now, the regular season, it's already better than last year. They've already leapfrogged last year's regular season. Yeah. It's not going to be left up to whether they have the referee pay enough attention to who's eligible or not as the razor's edge between a seating position that they want or not. I don't think. They're putting themselves in a much better position to have margin for error That said, the Eagles are going to potentially be right behind them. They've got the Carolina Panthers at home this weekend. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.